It would be understandable to say that Rem is worried. She didn't know what happened in the royal selection. She already asked Emilia and Roswell, but none of them seems to want to talk about it, especially the former. The silver-haired woman looked like having her mind somewhere else when they were at dinner. She always glanced at the door, expecting Aaron to come back any time. But until now he still did not. Which did nothing but make her worry. It has been a few hours ever since dinner and now already late, past midnight as matter of fact, but still there is no sign of him coming back. She knew Aaron can handle himself, he is strong after all, there is no need to worry about him being assaulted by anyone. As matter of fact, Rem pity the poor who would mess with him. In his current mind state, Rem is sure Aaron is going to trash them badly. And possibly killing them in the process. No, Rem is not worried about him getting ambushed, she is worried about his mind. It was clear that right now he clearly is not in the best mental state. With him to display such violence and anger. Never in her life she saw the man that has helped her filled with so much fury. He is always calm, kind, gentle, stern, but at the same time also knows to enjoy every moment he goes, like joking and bantering with her big sister and herself. To see him angry like that. Rem shudders visibly, not just from fear that it reminds her Aaron Pendragon is a powerful being, but also the cold feeling in her chest. To see someone that close to her, even only in a short time, and always being kind to show such expression and have his mind burdened. She doesn't like it. True, him attacking Roswell is clearly shocking and Rem won't hesitate to defend her lord from Aaron the next time he attacks him, but she found herself very uncomfortable facing him as an enemy. Not uncomfortable in fear, but it's more like she doesn't wish to. She doesn't want to fight him. She would rather hurt herself than. It doesn't matter now. She brushes that thought away. Now is not the time to think such things. Should Rem go out and try to find Aaron-sama? She can try to track his scent, it wouldn't be hard since Aaron's scent is strong. Rem dared to say that his scent is not bad, it was a bit intoxicating, full and rich with mana, as Oni found such scent is actually good. However, the witch stench, that lingering. That was a bit bad actually, luckily it was barely there so it didn't bother her. See a click. The door opened. It must be Aaron-sama. Rem thought as she quickly came out from the living room to greet him, worried about his condition. It was when she was near to the entrance that a familiar smell that she never expected to come from the man also latched onto him. As she reaches the front door, she is granted by sight of Aaron in his black and red outfit. The man seems a bit stumbling in his steps as he removes his shoes, his face slightly red, his eyes darted to her when noticed someone still awake and greets him. Rem? He asked, eyes blinking a few times as if trying to make sure she was real. Aaron-sama. Rem's lips curled to a thin line. You finally came back and... Her nose twitched once again, just to make sure she got the smell right. You are drunk. This is a surprise, she never thought he is someone who drinks alcohol. I wish. Aaron replied, his eyes rolled. I drink 6 bottles full but I still can't get drunk. He murmured darkly as he finally succeeded in removing his shoes. Rem blinked, 6 bottles. That was a lot of alcohol. And he did not get drunk even once. Well, he did, but he is still sober enough I guess. She thought as she watched the man sitting on the floor ruffling his hair. And they taste like shit, now I know why mom forbid dad and me to drink that thing. Not only did it taste bad but it did nothing. He continued to grumble, oblivious to the maid's thoughts. Whoever said drinking solves people in problem really needs to have their head smashed open and have their brain plucked out. Okay, maybe he's not completely sober, as far she recalls he never used crude language this much when he was conscious. She knows that because he usually mumbling random and silly things in the morning after just waking up. She let out a small sigh as she went over to him, taking his hand and placing it on her shoulder. Come on Aaron-sama, Rem will take Aaron-sama to his room. I can stand by myself Rem. Aaron chuckled as he let the girl help him to stand, but who am I to complain about having a cute girl like you get close to me? He said with a goofy grin. Rem feels her cheeks flushed a bit at the compliment but she keeps her face stoic and guides the blonde to his room, all while the man himself gives her an amused smile. As they enter the room, the blue-haired Oni places the man in bed, her eyes scanning the man that is precious to her. They smell alcohol but not much, which is very surprising since he claims to drink 6 bottles, and there is also a small red hue adorning his cheeks. I'm not going to drink alcohol anymore, not only do they make me feel airy but also taste bad. Aaron grumbled as he pinched the bridge of his nose. Rem is going to check Eren-sama's body, having that much alcohol is not healthy. Rem said as she cast a diagnosis spell on him. 1 or 2 bottles she can understand, but 6. By magic, isn't that too much? I'm fine, Rem, seriously, I don't even feel anything when I drink the 3rd bottle. He let out a chuckle as he allowed himself to be checked. I feel a bit light on the head now, but it is not something I can't handle. Must be because of the dragon's blood inside me. He grumbled. Rem blinked, once, twice. Dragon's blood? She asked in a mixture of confusion and curiosity. And it's Eren turned to blink after hearing the question. Roswell and Emmy didn't tell you? He asked back, sounding surprised. No, Roswell-sama and Emilia-sama did not say anything. Rem tried to ask them, but they apparently still don't wish to talk about it. After saying that, Rem watched as Eren's surprised face curled to thoughtfulness, his eyes narrowed in sharp manner. What with those two? He murmured, I have a guess if it is Emmy but Roswell. His face darkened when mentioning the Archmage's name, and Rem worried that he might become angry again. That worry was banished when Eren sighed and his face softened, one hand rose, he ruffled his hair in obvious annoyance. I guess it's up to me to tell you then. If Eren-sama don't want to dash. No, as matter of fact you deserve to know about this as well. But dash. I will kiss you if you keep refusing. As soon as those words came out, Rem's face turned to bright red, the way the color changed was almost like a switch. Her blue eyes widened and her jaw opened wide, KK kiss? She tries to sound calm, but it comes out as a squeak. Eren in response merely smirked, and it reminded the blue Oni of the smirk he always uses when he is arguing with her big sister. That reaction of yours did not help, you know. It only makes you cuter and wants to kiss you more. Aryem. Is. The blue-haired tried to put together coherent words through her mind that were now a mess from the handsome blonde's suddenly flirtatious words. She felt her brain go frenzy for a moment. The picture of her and the man kissing made her heart pound faster for some reason, and it only made her face become redder. You should look at your face, Aryem. Eren said with a grin, halting any further thought of the blue-haired Oni. You look like a boiling crab. He laughed. The laugh is apparently enough for Rem to put her mind back together, realizing she was being teased. The blue-haired Oni gives a glare to the blonde, but it serves nothing but makes him laugh further. That was very mean and improper of you, Eren-sama. Rem said to the blonde with a stern look, but thanks to her red face it was more like a pout to Eren, which did nothing but make him let out another chuckle. Sorry Rem, it was mean of me, but I can't help it. Eren said while shaking his head in amusement. Rem only can huff her cheeks. Not just make him lightheaded, but Eren-sama also seems to become more bold. The alcohol must be affecting him quite a lot despite him looking sober enough. While he has no issue in teasing and joking, but all of them never went to this level. Not like she dislikes it though, she certainly doesn't mind that he behaves like this, but it will be better if he doesn't have any alcohol in his body. Alright, where do I begin then? Eren said while rubbing his chin. Let's start with my heritage then. He glanced at the empty space on his side. You might want to sit down, this will take a while. Rem did without hesitation as she took his side graciously, her eyes peered over the man with curiosity. As Oni, a being that needs mana to exist, I'm sure you know what, am I right? You can smell the witch scent and something big from me. Right? He asked, and Rem answered with a nod, well it is, because while I'm indeed a human but I'm not fully human. Rem already suspects that. She did, both her and her Nae-sama. It was clear as day that there is no way Eren Pendragon fully human, that was impossible, the scent and power he radiated speak them very clearly. And unlike those who are blessed by the world, his smell is unnatural. It was too raw and wild in a sense. Then, Eren-sama is demi-human? She asked. You can say so, though I am as human as other people, but... Eren took a deep breath. The Pendragon family is believed to be related to a dragon, our ancestors have blood of dragon flow within them, so do I. Rem intake of air becomes sharp at that. Dragon. You know the reptile you called Earth Dragon, that usually pulls carriage over? Eren asked while gesturing to the outside through the window. I'm not talking about those dragons, in my place they would be called dinosaurs. That wasn't a lie, if Earth Dragon turns to real in their world they will be called that, then a dragon. I'm talking about a dragon that has transcended, a beast that is considered as the pinnacle of the magical beast, a beast that is said to be an extension of the world that was created in a form that is independent from nature itself with intelligence. It did not need to take a genius to know what he mean, even stupid people going to catch what he tried to say by that paramount exclamation. Great Dragon Volcanica. Rem murmured, eyes wide with shock and awe. Eren-sama is a descendant of the Great Dragon? Eren lips curled to a thin line. Close, but I am not related to him or her. I have the blood of a dragon inside me, but it is not Volcanica, it is another dragon, one that you won't find in history or any books in this land. Not a surprise seeing I hail from land beyond the great waterfall. What? Okay, it might be better to start from what happened in the royal selection before I explain things. And so Rem sat in there, listening to his story. She listened to him explain what happened in royal selection, from the beginning to the end. She listens when things are done, Roswell calls for him and reveals his existence to the world, his heritage and where he came from to the nobles of Lugnica, Sage Council, and Royal Guard. So, Eren-sama now basically becomes something that is considered divine to people of Lugnica. Yep. Eren nodded with a dry chuckle. What a fucked up scenario, isn't it? Rem put a thoughtful face, contemplating what she just heard. Rem does not understand, isn't that a good thing? It means with this Emilia-sama stand to become king is stronger, and also Eren-sama now has high stature and is considered to have a bigger position than nobles and even Roswell-sama himself. She was surprised the Sage Council did not offer him to live in the castle the moment his heritage was revealed. As someone who is believed to be a descendant of the Great Dragon Volcanica, there should be no other fitting place for him than the castle of the kingdom itself. She watched as the blonde-haired man stared at him with a strange look. She couldn't decipher his expression, but she felt that the man seemed bitter. Aryem. I do not wish to stay in Lugnica forever. Rem blinked, once, twice, her mind comprehending what he said, and after she finished, she felt a hot stone drop to her stomach. What Eren-sama dash? My coming in here is against my will. Eren said in a dry voice. I was forced to come here, I never wished to be in Lugnica in the first place. How so? It doesn't matter how. His answer was swift, too swift for her liking, it was clear that he was avoiding that particular subject. But what matters is one day I will leave this kingdom, as a matter of fact I only plan to stay here for a year or two, not longer than that. But... Rem opens her mouth to say something, anything. What about me? That was the first thing she wanted to ask. Will he leave her? What about Emilia-sama? What about Ne-sama? What about everything they had gone through together? She knew they were only together for 2 months, but during those 2 months, she dared to say that her life during that time had more meaning than the years she spent in that mansion. All those questions left unsaid in the end, only one thing came out from her mouth. Why? To reunite with my little sister, my father, my mother, and my whole family. The answer comes with a straight and blunt force, she can see in his green eyes that he truly means those words. You all are good people, you, Emmy and Ram. You are all my friends, but I have family waiting for me. True, I will be there to watch Emmy stand on her own feet, and I will be there to watch you and Ram expand your 2 worlds into bigger and more people to join you, but that's it. He shifts his body to fully face her. I won't be there when Emilia becomes king and leads Lugnica, and I won't be there to see you and Ram find the men you 2 love and make a family. A silence appears in the room as they stare into each other's eyes, one filled with a mixture of complicated emotions while the other with seriousness. The blue-haired Oni can't sense any doubt or shake in those green eyes, he truly means every word, truly means that he will leave one day, truly means that he will go away from them. It. Rem understand. It just makes sense. It is not illogical. She shouldn't be surprised. Eren-sama has no obligation to Emilia-sama and Roswell-sama, so if Eren-sama wants to leave then that should be no surprise. He owed them nothing, as matter of fact it was the house of Roswell that owned him. The house owes him so much, from helping Emilia-sama who is royal candidate they support, and handling the Woolgarm problem. True they indeed pay him back but they were pale compared to the deed this man has done for them. But... Can Rem come with you? Those questions were about to slip out from her mouth, it was on the tip of her tongue, but the image of her sister's smiling face made it stop there. She wants to go with him if he leaves, she wants to stand on his side, she wants to learn more from him, from the man that has opened her eyes and shown that the world is bigger than what she thought. But if she does that, then her sister, Her sister who has been in pain and masks her suffering for years just so she can fulfill her selfish desire that is meaningless. Will she leave her? Causing her more pain than this? No. She can't leave with him. She can't leave her sister alone. So she kept her mouth closed and cut herself in there. There was no need to ask that question. She won't leave with him. More like she can't. Not after everything she did. You don't need to be that worried though. He spoke, his voice sounded comforting. I won't leave soon, like I said, it will be a year or two before I do. He tilts his head and sighs while closing his eyes. But thanks to Roswell now it is going to be more difficult and longer. She understands what he means by that, she is not stupid. With him who can be considered as a descendant of Lugnika's god, there is no way the kingdom will let him go back to his home so easily. But there were other things she didn't understand. Why tell Rem this? She asked, making the man reopen his eyes and stare at her. She felt those green eyes peering through her soul. Why tell Rem that Eren-sama will leave? This is clearly a personal matter. Really personal. Right now the man that sits in front of her telling her his goal, his personal dream, she is perfectly aware no one save for him knows this, not even her big sister and Emilia. So why? Because I want you to know that I will leave someday. He answered, voice soothing and calm. I won't be there for you forever, I will leave. Not now, not soon, and it probably will take years but I will in the end. And as my friend, someone I considered close to me, you deserve to know. That's very mean of you Eren-sama. You said you were going to leave but you are still saying such things. I can give you a lie but I don't think you will like it. Besides, you are close to me and you have the right to know it. She only can let out a small laugh at that. Giving a woman painful and comforting words at the same time. Eren-sama is truly knight with two faces, just like what Ne-sama said. Rem expects no less from Eren-sama. That statement caused him to let out a laugh as well, no longer they were dry and bitter but they were genuine. It's certainly not a bad nickname if you ask me. He admitted. They both share another laugh together, gone now the dry and gloomy atmosphere a moment ago, it was clear they both now in a better mood. So what does Eren-sama intend to do now? And the somber mood came back just by that question. She watched as Eren looked crestfallen and rubbed his forehead. I don't know. He muttered. I don't know what to do. For the second time since she met him, Rem sees how the strong and powerful man that seems capable of taking on the world looks vulnerable. Just like when he talked about the sister he dearly loved, he looks so fragile and weak right now. There are so many things that have changed. And everything I did. He paused and let out a snort. I did nothing, compared to Subaru. What I did is normal, nothing special. I'm no better than him, no. It's better to say that he accomplished more than me, at least he works hard and all of them are the result of his struggle, he is a better person than me. Subaru? His eyes widened a bit and judging by his sharp intake of breath, Rem knew that he didn't mean to say that aloud. A friend. No, he is more like an acquaintance. He said. He looks soberer now, clearly phrasing his words more carefully. He is someone that weak, he is a normal man, nothing more nothing else, but... His lips curled to a bitter smile. You will fall in love with him when you see his determination Rem. His courage, his spirit, his bravery. He shook his head. A person who outsmarts even a genius. Not to mention he loves demon. He always said he is demonically possessed. Demonically possessed? Rem uttered the sentence in her mouth, that was very strange, but it is not unpleasant, she likes those words. Like possessed by gods. He said with a small smile. He said that gods usually do nothing but the demon is always there and often stands at the human side. So he prefers them over gods. Rem see. Subaru-san seems like a very nice person. She said sincerely. He is, trusts me you and he will get along pretty well. He chuckled. Though not before you kill him twice and he saves you from being mauled by Woolgarm. He thought with a small grimace. Then what Subaru-san will do if he is in Eren-sama's position? Rem asked. He blinked, once, twice. What do you mean? Eren-sama said Subaru-san is someone who outsmarts genius, then doesn't that mean he is a person who is very sharp-minded surpassing even genius? Why don't you try to think what he would do if he were in your situation? For a moment he did nothing but stare at her with a hollow look, as if his mind is currently not in his body, drifting away to another place. Then she watched as his eyes regained their light. Then he laughed. The laugh was sincere, honest and pure. Filled with joy, a laugh that someone let out when they find an answer to their question that has plagued them for so long. Rem liked that laugh, she really did. Of course. Of course. I should see it. Why I really still have a lot to learn. Ha 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 ha. Damn. Of all people, I should see as an example. Ha ha ha. And while he let out grateful and jovial words, the blue-haired Oni watched this happen with a smile on her face, happy that the man who opened her eyes seemed to find his path once again. Aryem. He called her, his bitter and frustrated expression gone, a warm and handsome smile that made her heart beat faster once marred his face. Thank you. You are really helping me. She smiled back at him, ignoring the warmth that crossed to her cheeks. It's nothing, Rem only did her duty as maid who takes care of Eren-sama. She replied. And you did a pretty good job. He chuckled as he raised his hand, reaching for her, and he touched her head softly. I'm glad that you are here and taking care of me. Rem felt her heart beat faster at the compliment. It really happened quite a lot lately when she was around him or talking about him. This feeling. Could it be? The hand moved away from her head, cutting Rem's thought, and she felt disappointed at that. Anyway, it's already late. Eren briefly glanced outside through the window. So it's better if you go to sleep now, Rem, you're even waiting for me. I made you work hard, huh? Eren-sama sure did, you made Rem worried, coming home this late. Rem is about to go out and search for you. He grimaced and looked abashed after hearing that. Sorry. He apologized genuinely. It's okay. Rem brushed off the apology easily. Then, Eren-sama better rest now, we are going to go back to the manor tomorrow at noon. He blinked. So soon? Yes, Roswell-sama said he has matters to do in the next few days, so. She trailed when noticed the man's eyes darkened, his green eyes that looked merry and happy now adorned with sharpness and turned to glare. But it only for a moment as he let out a sigh and began to massage his forehead. I see. Rem will leave then. Rem said as she stood. Eren-sama better rest now, it's hard and takes time to wake you up after all. Not like she minds though, she found his antics when he was still in a daze to be cute. What can I say? I'm quite a sleeper. He replied with a chuckle. Rem only shook her head as she made her way to the exit. She was about to open the door before something crossed her mind. Eren-sama. HM. Yes? About Eren-sama leaving in the future. She feels her heart begin to ache just by saying that. Rem thought it would be a good idea to tell Emilia-sama about it. The pseudo-saber blinked once before he frowned, his forehead scrunched in a thoughtful manner. I know what you are trying to say, make no mistake, I will tell her, but not right now. May Rem ask the reason? Because Emi is still a child. His answer is plain and straight. A child? Rem repeated, confused at his words. No, maybe not a child, but similar like one. How do I put it, huh? He rubbed his chin and gave a complicated look. Well, I won't deny that Emi is smart, and she is also capable of acting mature and has a logical mind, but the problem is she still isn't aware of her own feelings. You can see it when she helps people, she insists she is doing that because it is not from her own will but because it is a reasonable thing to do. By helping she hopes that the people she helped will help her in return. And when they do she will be happy, but if they are not then it doesn't matter for her. See my point here? She doesn't recognize her feelings and what she truly desires, just like a child. Well, if he put it that way. He is not entirely wrong. Emilia-sama does act like that a lot of times, using something as an excuse to do what she wishes in the first place instead of a proper reason or acknowledge it. Eren-sama really knows Emilia-sama very well. She commented. She is my friend, of course, I know her. He said with a chuckle. And of course, I also know what kind of person you are, Rem. She blinked. Really? Yep, want me to describe what kind of person you are? She nodded almost in an eager manner. It will be very interesting to hear what the man is thinking about her. Eren in response only smiled before making a gesture for her to come closer, and she did, stepping closer to him. She should know to never let her guard down. The moment she is in his reach, the blonde's hands sprung forward, immediately latching to her cheeks and pinching them. Ouch! 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 Aworwin Swamwa. Rem squeaked as she instantly tried to pry the hand away. Try she though, but the hands did not even budge an inch, still glued to there. Eren merely smirked as he played with Rem's cheek. "Ah, this is really relieving," he said while letting out a pleasant breath. "Ah." She squirmed as she felt the pain in her cheeks recede when the blonde began to rub them like a child rubbing kitten chin. It wasn't an unpleasant sensation when he did this, but she found it to be embarrassing. There. After a few seconds of abuse, her cheeks finally released and she wasted no time rubbing them, wincing as she felt the stinging pain in from there. "Eren-sama is truly evil," she said with a glare. "To manipulate Rem's heart just to satisfy his carnal desire." Oi, you make me sound like a sexual offender," he replied with an amused voice. "Well, it doesn't matter, as for what kind of person you are," he trailed in her playful wink. "That is a secret." Rem's right eye twitched in irritation. To not just use Rem's heart but also give false hope. As a knight, Eren-sama should be ashamed. "Not an official knight yet," he playfully said. She tried to give him a glare, however, she, herself can't help but admit to be amused by his antics, so she settled into a sigh. Since there is nothing else to say, then Rem shall go back to her own room. Eren-sama should rest now. "Yes, you too, Rem, good night." "Good night, Eren-sama." With that, the blue-haired Oni once again went to the door and opened it. She took one step outside before something crossed her mind. Just for Eren-sama information, Rem is not the only one waiting for Eren-sama. After saying that, she closed the door, leaving the pseudo-saber in his own thoughts. Sounds of a door creaking open echoed in the dark room, light from outside shone upon it, giving him a fragment of vision of the inside. His head coming in first, eyes peering to the room that is barely visible, despite it dark, but his sight surprisingly still good, it barely bothers him. Another ability he gains the moment he becomes a pseudo-servant, his vision may still be blocked by darkness, but his sight is actually better than normal people. He found the person he was looking for in the chair instead of the bed, sitting in there with her head twitched up, down, barely stable, and holding herself from falling. As he focused his eyes further, he found her eyes actually closed, indicating she was asleep. He stares at the girl for a few seconds before he shakes his head and takes a step inside the room. He approaches her, and while doing that he makes his steps as light as possible to not bother the sleeping girl or wake her. As he stands in front of her directly, he can't help but stare for a moment. She was clad in her nightgown that allowed him to look a bit more of her skin, her sleeping face showing an exhausted expression. He mentally slapped himself, this isn't time to stare. God, why did he come here again in the first place? He is supposed to be in his own room and already in dreamland right now. So why in the name of gods? Because I can't sleep and I'm curious how she handles things, he thought with a small sigh. Normally he is not one who is bothered by trivial things like this, but let's just say, since he can't sleep, he decided to pay a visit. Shaking his head, he gently put his hand over her shoulder while the other went down and swooped her legs. Then with one move, he lifted the girl smoothly. He did this a lot with his sister, so he have no problem carrying someone, not to mention her weight does not matter to his inhumane strength. Granted, he still has a problem due to the height difference, but it barely bothers him. NGGH. The girl let out a small noise under his arm, prompting him to glance at her for a moment before shifting his gaze to bed. Then he started to walk, slowly and in a careful manner to not awake her. He placed her softly in bed, touching her arms. He arranged her position to make her as comfortable as he could. After that he looked at her face again, gently tugging at the strand of hairs that framed her face, like a parent taking care of their children. Her lips smacked themselves a few times, wetting it. Her face that looked exhausted a moment ago now looked serene and peaceful as she snuggles to the bed deeper. He smiled at the sight. Taking care of a girl like this reminds him of when he is alone with his sister in the house. Their parents are not always at home since they both have their own job. True, they are a happy family, but there is a moment when he wishes their parents would spend more time with them, especially his sister. He shakes away the thought, knowing now is not the place to delve into a memory. He picks the blanket and gently drops it to her, covering her body and protecting her from the cold. Seeing there is nothing else he need to do, he turned away and began to make his exit. He was only a few steps from reaching the door and... Eren. He froze when the voice of the girl reached his ears. Slowly, almost mechanically, he turned his head behind, expecting to see the girl wake up, but apparently she did not. It was a mere mumble from a dream. She was still in bed and sleeping. He let out the breath that he held unconsciously. Shaking his head, he resumed his walk and was about to touch the knob of the door when he heard whimpering from behind him. Emmy. He called in a low voice, thinking that the half-elf was awake. But she did not respond. She only snuggled deeper to her bed, her peaceful face now marred by troubled and anxious expression. Nightmare. She has nightmares. He wasted no time lighting the lantern, illuminating the room, and approaching her, all hesitation and awkward feeling washed away. He sat to her side and began to tug her gently. Emmy. NGH. MNH. Emmy, wake up for a moment. He gives another shake, this time stronger to wake her up, and he succeeds. The half-elf stirred, her violet eyes slowly open. They were dazed and unfocused, but only for a short time as they gained their sharpness when they noticed who stood in front of her. Aaron? She stuttered. Who else? He asked with a small smile. Aaron. She repeated, her hands raised and caressing the man's cheeks. You are here. She murmured the words in a tone he didn't recognize. You are here. Yes, Emmy, I'm here. He takes her hands and slowly puts them down. He feels his cheeks warm at the sudden closeness, but he pushes them all away. Now is not the time, damn it. Calm yourself, hormones. You are here. She said once again. She sounded relieved this time. Then her eyes widened in a comical manner. She practically jumped back from her in an instant and raised her shaky finger at him. Why are you here? She demanded. Good question. He thought dully and asked that question to himself ever since he stepped into this room. I just want to check on you. Rem said you are waiting for me and... Waiting for... She blinked a few times. Wait, what time is this? 2 solar time. 2 solar. She trailed, eyes widened further in more surprise, then they sharpened and she glared at him. Where were you? She demanded. 2 solar time. Aaron. This is past midnight and... Her harsh words died in her throat as she remembered what actually happened. Aaron. Are you? He only gave her a small smile. I'm no longer in a bad mood if that's what you asked. He answered. Let's just say my head is clear now. I see. She looked relieved, judging by her smile. I'm happy to hear that, and... She trailed again, face turned to unsure expression. Knowing she doesn't know what to say, he decides to make the opening. I won't say I'm sorry. He said, making the girl blink. I won't say I'm sorry for wandering around the city until this late. I am my own person, so I am free to do what I wish. However, I will say sorry for making you worry. He added, his voice became softer when speak the last part. With my state of mind at that time, you must be very worried. And for that, I'm sorry. Emilia was at a loss of words for a moment before she shook her head. It's okay, I'm just glad that you are fine and not harmed. She said sincerely. And I also want to say sorry. She murmured while looking down, her index fingers poking each other. I've yelled at you before. No harm done, Emmy. He said with a chuckle. Anyway, I guess I better go back to my room now. About that. Why did you come here? The question was asked in an innocent manner. It was clear that she was not suspicious at all why a man invaded her room in the middle of night. Aaron feels like an arrow just pierces through his chest seeing this innocence. I come here to see how are you. Rem said you are waiting for me, so I want to check on you. He tried to phrase his words in a way that won't give her the wrong impression. And I found you sleeping in a chair. Since it is obviously unhealthy, I moved you to your bed. I was about to leave, but I noticed you. He trailed and gave a look to Emilia. The half-elf tilted her head in confusion, but it only lasted for a moment before she remembered what happened. Oh. Is the only thing she can say. About that. You don't need to tell me if you don't want to. Aaron cut her, one hand raising as a gesture. He tugged it down and gave her a smile after that. But know that if you wish to talk, I am here for that. As your friend, I will gladly help you. But I'm your friend too. Emilia suddenly snapped, her eyes looking fierce. You always say that you will help me, but I'm barely helping you. You say I'm your friend, but I did nothing to help you. He knew that is what she wanted to say. He already knew there are times that things like this come after all. In the end, Emilia still can't accept people's help, not because she doesn't want to, but because she doesn't understand how other feelings. It almost like she don't understand that sometimes people help just because they want to, not because they need a reason. And she feels indebted because of that. Emilia still doesn't understand how people are feeling. Just like her. But unlike her, Emilia cannot understand the other feelings because she still has the mentality of a child. After she grows up and becomes more mature though, she will be a great person. You want to help me? He asked. There is only one thing he can say in this situation. Yes. She nodded, the way her eyes brightened and her head that bopped up, down eagerly. Eren sure as hell if he told her to run around the city she would do that regardless of how strange it might sound. Then let me help you. She blinked in surprise. He ruffled his hair and put on an exasperated face. Emmy, I will be blunt, right now you are very close to useless. He said blatantly, making the half-elf wince. Don't try to deny it, deep inside you know, you are really at a major disadvantage despite being a royal candidate. You basically have zero connection and zero financial, you have power in the form of Puck, yes, but we both know I don't need power right now. The way she flinched and opened her mouth only to close it before looking down to her lap, it was quite saddening to the point he felt slightly guilty for being rude like this. But it needs to be said. Right now among the other candidates save for Felt, Emilia is the most powerless if they didn't count him as his support, she is really in a bad position and dares Eren said she actually could be more childish than Felt. Which means something since Felt is the youngest among the other candidates. Right now you have nothing, but in the future you will. He continued, making her eyes snap up at him once again. Just like children or infants, can they do anything to help their parents? No, but in the future when they become adults and grow. They can. He tilted his head. Just like what I did to you now, I help you, supporting you, and if you want to help me back, do that when you can stand by your own. That was the solution he came up with. Right now Emilia can't do anything, but in the future, when she matures, when she is ready to face the world, having her on his side will be very helpful. And judging by her eyes that seem gaining new light, it is clear what he tried to do is successful. Right now Emilia clearly found a base, a foundation that from now on she can use to reach her goal. She has to improve herself first before standing on his side. And about my heritage. He paused and had an annoyed expression for a moment. Let's talk about it tomorrow when we are on our way to the manor. Now it is already very late and you, your majesty, need your beauty sleep. Beauty sleep. She repeated the word in a dumbfounded manner before she broke into a fit of giggles. Yes, I understand then Sir Eren, I will be bad looking and have wrinkles all over my beautiful skin if I did not do that. She makes gestures by rubbing her arms and putting on a haughty look. It makes him snort, she clearly becomes more lively than her canon, no doubt it is because of his influence. Something that greatly amuse him. Well, then this your loyal subject shall leave and let you have your rest. He said as he stood and retreating while walking backward, his body bends down in an extravagant bow. This causes Emilia to giggle again and Eren shakes his head as he straightens his back and reaches for the door, he gives her a look as he opens it. Good night Emmy. Good night Eren. She replied, her beautiful pristine face marred with an angelic smile. And thank you. For everything. He found himself staring at her for a moment, not out of awe or mesmerized by her beauty. No, it was. What it was. You're welcome. It was her anguish and crying face when she found that he was going to leave her. Just like when she was left alone by Gyuz, her aunt, and her whole village. And his heart throbbing with pain and guilt. Knowing just how much suffering he will bring to this girl. She is a strong woman, she is a strong woman. She will be fine, she will be fine. I will make sure of it. He thought as he closed the door and turned away. Strangely it is not as convincing as when he reassures himself at the first time. What would Subaru do if he was in my position? When every path is blocked and looks dark. When everything is blocked by abyss that endless and eternal. Simple. Push forward. Do not be afraid, do not hesitate, keep moving. And if he died? Their return by death waiting for him. The ability that allows him to redo the world, the ability that any magus in the world will give anything just to have that. It is an ability that is categorized as true magic without a doubt. The ability that makes powerless, weak, fragile, and small mortals able to do what only gods can do. Creating miracles with nothing but hard work and mental strength, making the impossible possible. And no matter how strong his enemies were, how powerful those who oppose him, how horrifying monster that stood in his path. As long as that person has strong mental discipline, he will win. That is the power that Return by Death grants to Subaru. The power that belongs to a mortal. The same power that right now I have. The moment I wake up I ask for early breakfast from Rem before I leave the house. It's not like I don't want to sit and chat with them, but I don't want to see Roswell's face, at least not this soon. I might explode once again if I do that. So here I am now, standing at the same place over and over again, watching the whole capital from high ground, with no one accompanying me save for birds. It was without doubt things will become very complicated from now on, with my existence as a descendant of dragon being known and everything. Fuck. My life has become more complicated. And I can fix this. Return by death. All I need to do is utter those cursed words, and I will be dead, then I will return back, redo the whole world. And if I remember about that ability yesterday, when I'm very angry, when I'm so mad, I won't even hesitate to say those curses and let it claim my life so I can return to a few days before this. The only thing that stopped me right now, is what caused me to be in this mess in the first place. The prophecy. As far as I know there is no second prophecy, there is no other prophecy except the one that mentions 5 royal candidates. So why? Why is there a new one in here? And not just that, but it was very specific and mentioned about dragon, about someone with blood of his kin. There are many theories about how Subaru summoned to this world in the first place. One though very crazy, particularly about where in reality, what happened to Subaru is actually one big loop. And Emilia is the center of it. In truth she is Satella that was thrown back to the past, and she is in love with Subaru, and since he is from another world, she decides to summon him here. But she needs power for that, and thus she consumes the witch envy gene. And the result is as everyone expected. It was more than she thought, and the madness consumed her, turning her into Witch of Envy. And what's worse is that the Witch of Envy is also in love with Subaru, just like Satella. And she summoned him from another world. Then there is another theory that Flugel is Subaru, or at least another version of him, the great sage that is responsible for sealing Satella in the first place. And so many other theories that fans create. It is random, it is crazy and illogical. Even though I didn't believe it until now, I mean, imagining Emilia as the Witch of Envy is. Maybe I'm biased as well since I don't know how terrifying the witch is, but whatever happened, it can't be denied that Subaru's summon to this world is not a coincidence. Just like mine. My coming in here is expected. Volcanica's prophecy pretty much proved that. So does that mean Satella is the one who summoned me? If she did, then why give me Saber's strength? Why not summon me like Subaru? Why? So many questions, and so many of them don't have answers. The only one who possibly knows is those that are related to Satella directly. Volcanica, Flugel, Reed, and Echidna. Wait, Echidna has a book of wisdom if I recall, and does that mean Arc 4 is still going to exist in the first place? I mean, the reason why Subaru and Emilia go there is because Roswell wants to accomplish Subaru. Does that mean he knew that his master one day would be freed and... Too much. This is too much. Too much information, too much mystery, and too much unknown. If the prophecy is already made, then avoiding it is out of the question. No matter what happened in the end, my existence will be known because of that. Even if I escape from this country, but if the prophecy is being told, then Lugnica is going to search over every corner of this world to find me. And it was just a matter of time before I got founded. Bastard. I murmured as I clenched my fist while glaring dagger to the city below me. Roswell. What he did yesterday. There is no better timing than at that time. He revealed my existence to all nobles, royal guard and sage council. At the same time he also erased all the doubt by making them see. I don't know what, but according to Emilia it was clear they all saw a dragon figure looming over me, and not one that used to pull a carriage but a real dragon with its head the size of a building. If that wasn't damn obvious, I don't know what else is. If I use return by death to return to a few days ago and avoid the royal selection, then what? In the future, my existence will be revealed, and the way it comes can be worse if I'm not careful. As much as I hate it. No, as much as I loathe and despise it. But Roswell's way to reveal my existence is better than any way I can imagine. And because of that, killing myself to return to a few days ago is not a wise decision. I need to confront him. There is no better choice. I don't want to be strung by him anymore. Enough is enough. It is time to go straight to the point. Secrecy be damned. I will ask him directly about Echidna. But not right now. I have something else to take care of. Betelgeuse. If my guess is correct, then right now he is probably already near the village or on their way to cave around there. My face is still not shown to the public, people still don't know about me, so it is safe to say that if I lie, there is a big chance Betelgeuse will believe in me. I learned to lie from someone who is 4 times older than Betelgeuse after all. After finishing with Betelgeuse I will confront Roswell about Echidna and Hakugi. Well. Fuck. One after another, great, just great. How am I going to deal with Hakugi in the first place? I only know it is going to pass through Flugel's tree but I don't know the exact time. The only clue I have is, Hakugi appears around 1503 in Subaru's cell phone and... Wait. He lives in Japan. Which means... I waste no time pulling out my Samsung, opening it, I tap the clock and instantly search for Japan time GMT and I found it. +9 GMT. Only 1 hour difference from Singapore. I muttered as I glanced at my clock and noticed it was around 10 at night. If I did the calculation right then. The difference between Singapore and this world is 12 hours, which means 13 hours to Japan, 1503 equal to around 4 AM. Gotcha. I muttered with a smirk. I know the exact time, now all I need is the day when that damn whale lurking around Flugel's tree and I can lure it using the witch's smell. Actually, wouldn't it just be easier if I lure it with my smell in the first place instead of using the time? I guess knowing a rough time when it was around the area would be helpful too then. Now to another matter. Betelgeuse. If there is prophecy about me, I sure as hell can't expect things to be the same. What is he going to bring with him? Serious? Gods, I hope he doesn't bring things that... Oh, who I am to kid, with my luck I'm sure whatever he brings will be bad. You look better than yesterday, Aaron-san. A familiar voice called me from behind made me blink. Turning around I found myself face to face with a certain red-haired girl who I met yesterday. Tear-san. I utter her name with a blink, I never thought I was going to meet her again, at least not this soon. Hello. She greeted me while waving her hand with a smile. Good morning. Morning. I greeted her back. What are you doing here? Well, I was new in the capital. She said with a sheepish smile. Yesterday when I came here it was my first time, and this spot is good to see the city so. I see. I keep my voice stoic and uncaring while saying that to her. A stranger came over to approach me just after my existence was revealed to the royal guard, nobles and sage council. If that wasn't suspicious I don't know what else is. How about you, Aaron-san? What are you doing here? Just enjoying the scene. I said honestly while glancing back to the city below me. I'm going to leave and go back to my village so I want to see this city before I do. Aaron-san is not from the capital. She seemed surprised as she stood on my side. No, I live outside. That is a surprise, you look like someone who lives in a big place. She murmured while touching her chin. Who said I live in a small place? I asked while quirking my eyebrow. You don't? Then are you noble? That would be a secret. I said cryptically, earning a small huff from her. What about you? Well, I live near the shop district with my aunt and uncle. We sell vegetables, fruits and flowers. She answered, then she flashed me a smile and wink. By the way, right now we have a sale, buy 5 pebbles and you get 1 for free. Oh. And there are also sales for our grappa. If you buy 4 you got 1 for free too. She shamelessly begins to promote her own merchandise, even her eyes and smile sparkling as if trying to attract customers. I want to buy your pebbles but unfortunately I will leave in next hour so sorry, can't buy it. I denied the offer nonchalantly. Imagining Emilia's face when she see pepple or green pepper in her food almost makes me chuckle. No problem. I brought my merchandise with me. She declared with a grin, making me blink. Where? I leave them below since they are too heavy to carry. It was safe to say that I found myself gobsmacked at her stupidity. And you don't afraid they will get stolen? She blinked, once, twice, thrice, then her mouth forming an, oh, shape before her eyes widened. You are right. She immediately dashed from her place, running back to the stairs, leaving a small trail of dust from where she stood a moment ago. I watched this happen with an uncaring face. I swear if this is anime I will have sweat drop from the back of my head right now. Thief. Help. Thief. I knew it. I knew it would be like this. Without wasting any time I jumped straight from where I stood, soaring myself down from top of the gate in less than a second. I never try high jump despite knowing I can do it, and the range between top to bottom is probably around 15 meters. Jumping from this high clearly is not the smartest decision for a normal person since their bones are going to snap when they hit the ground. Fortunately, I'm not normal. Crater formed as my legs smashed to the ground beneath me. I bent down my body and widened my legs a bit to keep my body balanced from the impact I got from landing. It seems I landed on the right place, thanks to the debris and smoke that was created. Someone who is carrying a bag filled with vegetables and fruit, a guy who I think is the thief, halted in his steps to not crash at me and lose his balance, thus tripping himself to the ground. I stare down at the guy with a nonchalant look, and before he can do anything I raise my leg and stomp on his back, making him yelp in pain and preventing him from getting up. Not far from my place I see Tyr running in my direction, her face showing panic that turns to relief when see me. This is the thief, I assume. I asked rhetorically as I gestured to the man that was struggling beneath my feet. Seeing it was an unpleasant sight, I raised my boot and he was about to stand, only for my toe hit him in the head, smashing him back to the ground and knocking him cold. Yeah. Tyr answered, her blue eyes peering over the man's unconscious form for a moment before shifting to me. Eren-san, how can you get in here so fast? I jumped. She blinked, jumped. She repeated before she glanced up, her eyes glued to the gate entrance that stood tall towering over us. Eren-san. You jumped from there? Yes. From that high? Yes. Jumped willingly? Yes. Without giving a second thought? Yes. With nothing but dash. Yes, yes, and yes. I said in an exasperated manner while sighing. Then the red-haired girl clapped her hands together in a cheerful manner and shot me a bright smile. I am about to ask if you want to buy my whole stuff since I am afraid no one wants it, but thanks the dragon you want to buy it all. I stared at her, stared and stared. And it took a few seconds for me before I realized she was not joking. How much for all of them? 11 silver. I recall how much money I have. Last night I bought those 6 alcoholic drinks for around 2 holy coins. Now I only have 3 left, 1 gold and 7 silver. Normally I'm not one who spends my money in careless manner, but since I live in a mansion and I barely need them, not to mention Roswell also mentioned that I will get my payment for the project I made since someone is already interested in buying the prototype, I decide to do little charity. Maybe this can make whatever gods out there finally look down at me and bless me with more luck. Here. I said as I gave her 1 gold and 5 silver. Give me the grappa only. She blinked as she received the money before she frowned. Eren-san, while I accept your help, I don't need this much. I don't want to be pitied. Who said that's all for you? I deadpanned. There is no way I am going to bring all of them back. I gestured to the large baskets that were near her. So I only take some, but the rest of them, can you cook all of them and give them to the children in the slum? She stared at the coins in her hand for a few seconds before she turned back to me, her dark blue eyes shining with indecipherable light, and she gave me a smile. You are a kind person, Eren-san. No, I just do it because I'm in the mood. I replied flatly and popped 1 grappa. Grape, 1 piece of grape to my mouth, it is kind of sour but sweet too, not bad. Well, I have to go now, see you later then, Tyr-san. I said this while turned away, not even give her a second glance. Ah. Yes. She answered. See you later then, Eren-san. I only grunted and did not look back at her while popping another grape to my mouth. It's been a while since I got one and I must say I miss this little fella in my mouth. It will make a good snack for the journey back to the manor. So. What do you want to know? I asked as I stared at Emilia while popping another grape to my mouth. It has been 2 hours ever since I parted with Tyr, and now I was on the carriage and on my way back to the manor. Thankfully that Roswell wasn't here as well, he was in another compartment, one that he bought extra for himself alone, and I don't think I can handle being stuck with him for a 3 hours journey. Emilia sitting in front of me, clad in her usual attire and having Puck resting on her side, he was probably also curious about me. You are a descendant of dragon, or at least have a blood relation with him, right? The Pendragon family indeed is believed to have a relationship with dragon, so yes. I answered, my mind wandering to last night when I told this to Rem. I'm not a descendant of dragon, but I have the blood of one, that was pretty much clear. But my dragon is not Volcanica, no, our dragon is. I curl my lips into thin lines and try to recall what type Moon Wikia stated about dragon. Not a peaceful one, it won't even hesitate to destroy a whole city or village if they disturb it, be it intentional or not. I know it. Puck murmured. There is no way you are related to Volcanica. Well, the prophecy indeed state, the one who with blood of my kin, that was clearly said it could not be him. I said with a shrug. I have never met Volcanica, but I will say that he is peaceful in nature if he is willing to make a covenant with humans. And compared to Volcanica, how powerful is your dragon? Arthur. Image of the giant dragon with its head size was comparable to a castle crossed my mind and I shuddered. A sword that is made from divine construct and the planet itself even loses its light just by standing in front of its presence. I don't know Volcanica. I feel my lips become dry. But if Drake got angered, then it is safe to say that a whole Lugnica would burn just in one day with few of his breath. The dragon breath is something that is like a torrent of mana that spreads wide, in a world where mana is everywhere like this. It was the same thing as feeding oil to flame. And seeing Drake is a dragon with an aspect of flame, judging by its red color, that was literal, and the effect would be total destruction. True, there are probably many that would survive, but I won't say the same to the land, to this kingdom, not with Drake's flame shrouding over it. Judging by Emilia that became pale, it was clear she took what I just said seriously, and she should. I am being honest. I am basing Drake as equal to Albion or the White Dragon, whatever form Vortigern has taken, and I can say with certainty, if a creature at the level of Vortigern stepped into Lugnica, there won't be any kingdom left. Vortigern was that powerful. According to Merlin, she said he was Britain given form, the white dragon that was supposed to bring ruin to humanity on Britain, that was what he was destined to be, and Arthur Pendragon is the incarnation that would stop him. Unfortunately for Arthur, his individual power is pale compared to Vortigern. Then again, perhaps, fully heroic spirit Arthur would be able to match him because he was supported by the mystery and legend that related to them. Drake? Emilia asked. The name of the dragon that related to me, why Drake Gotch, shortly called Drake. Some call him the Red Dragon Emperor and few even label him as Heavenly Dragon. Thanks to DXD for that. Drake. I did not recognize that name. Puck murmured with a small frown while holding a paw to his forehead. Of course you wouldn't, Drake is pretty much like a legend, and he never once came to this land, so you don't know him. I explained. What does the land beyond the Great Waterfall look like, Aaron? Emilia asked curiously. You hail from there, right, so... I pull out my cell phone, tapping the pictures and trying to find a good image. Let's see what I can use. Ah, a view from the top of Marina Bay Sands. Here, this is one of the cities we have. Emilia took the cell phone and Puck hovering over her shoulder, both of them making an impressed voice when seeing it. Wow, it really... Emilia seems at a loss for words as she stares at the picture. Clean and refreshing. The architectural structure is also amazing. Puck commented, he also seems to be in awe as well. Those buildings kinda look like flowers. They were designed to be that way. I said, he must be commenting about buildings around the flower garden. They are more beautiful when close to night since they are glowing. I can imagine it. Emilia muttered, her expression looked kind of dreamy, she must be imagining it. That place is called Singapore, you can say it is one of the cleanest islands, bring it here. I said as I took my phone back from Emilia before sliding the pictures and searching for a particular one. Here, the city of Camelot, where the Pendragon family live. I show them a fantasy picture of Camelot. I have always been a fan of good-looking cities, be it fantasy or reality, since I thought of them as possibilities that could exist. Singapore's view after all quite fantastical if you take pictures from a good angle, so. Camelot. Emilia murmured. Aaron, is this where the Pendragon family lives? You can say so. Arthur, Guinevere and Morgan live there after all, so I'm not lying. I never give thought about land beyond the Great Waterfall, but seeing the city. It will be interesting to visit. Puck said as he observed the picture. Unfortunately that place was beyond the reach even for me, the pressure from the water is too much and the mana in there is also small. He lamented while sighing. You will love it there in Puckdano, this place where you can eat as much as you want with a certain amount of money. Puck perked up at that, his ears flopped once. Really? Yup, I know since I've been there too. So I can eat ice cream as much as I want. Is there egg or something else in there? There are many foods that you would love, trust me. Since you're very gluttonous, I guess I can trust your judgment if it is about food. Oi, that was harsh, I'm not always a heavy eater like this, you know. It was Saber's influence. Albeit I did eat a lot, but not as much as now, probably because I'm in a servant-like body so I can eat much more than normal people. Aaron. Yes? I asked as I turned to Emilia, who looked at me with a strange face. What is it, Emmy? Something else you want to ask? She seemed uncomfortable with my question. I briefly glanced at Puck questioningly, but he only gave me a shrug, his blue eyes though also looking at his surrogate daughter in concern. You said you are a descendant of dragon. Right? I do have the blood of a dragon flowing inside me, yes. I see. She still wanted to say something but she held it back, it was as clear as day. I have an idea what she is going to say actually, but why does she look so hesitant? Normally I am going to press her, however I'm sure she has her own reason, and also it was something that only a few know and she never told me, so it would be suspicious if I just said or mentioned it. By the way, I might be busy for the next few days. I said, trying to change the topic. Huh? Emilia blinked. I have things to take care of. As soon as I get back to the manor I will pack and go out for 1 or 2 days. Things? Emilia's face curled into curiosity and concerned expressions. What things? I will admit it was not simple things but one that was quite problematic. Unfortunately, I can't say the details right now, but I promise I will tell you after I return. I can't bluntly say that I am going to search for the witch cult or look for something that might threaten her life. That will do nothing but make her worry and wish to come with me. And I can't have that, not when things are so unsure and unknown. Right now it is better if I just go by myself for my own safety and everyone else's. I can't let the things that happened to Ram in the Woolgarms incident repeat, that was very close after all. Aaron, I don't like this. Emilia said, she now clearly shows concern. Is this connected to what happened yesterday? Emmy, I assure you I'm no longer mad about yesterday. I replied before I frowned. Okay, I admit I'm still upset about what happened yesterday, but my outing has no relation with that, it is entirely a different matter. Here I give a look to Puck, asking for help silently. The Great Spirit stares at me with piercing eyes but only for a moment before he gives me his assistance. Let him go, Lia, we both know just how capable Aaron is. He can handle himself. The cat spirit must be able to sense my seriousness and wariness, I have no intention to hide it. I will do dangerous things, so he can help me to tell Emilia to not follow me. But Emilia glanced at me and to Puck, her face that persistently slowly turned to one of relented. Fine. How long are you going to leave? Like I said, only 1 or 2 days, at max is 5, not longer than that. Betelgeuse and his cultist are already there 2 or 3 days before Hakugiai shows itself mapping the village and our mansion, so it means I have around 2 days so I can go and check on Hakugiai location. Plenty of time in my opinion. It has been a day since then. Right now I am sitting in front of a bonfire, wearing my armor while leaning on the tree, keeping my senses sharp and staying alert with my tent and sleeping bag not far from where I am sitting right now. I can't exactly pinpoint my location. While I do indeed leave some trail and mark that will give me clues to go back, but it doesn't change the fact that I don't know where my position is other than I'm in a forest around Arlem village. I have been patrolling around the area, with my speed I can easily do that only in hours, and I managed to find 2 caves, one that is near me right now and the other located southeast from here. It is quite far and it will take an hour by foot to reach it. Last night. Well, I can say last night was quite a mess, what with Woolgarms still around got attracted and attacked me when I made the witch's stench intensify. And let me tell you, have your heart grasped, literally. Is not a pleasant sensation. When I utter that cursed words, it was like torture. The Witch of Envy touch is cold, cold like ice. Now imagine them in the shape of a hand, and they also feel like one save for the temperature. The sensation when that hand touches me. It was painful. Your body technically is warm inside, the human's body temperature is 36.5 to 37.5 C, just drop 2 or 3 already enough to make you have to be checked to hospital. Now imagine what if 0 or temperature minus suddenly touches the organ that keeps your body working and alive. I never give thought about land beyond the great waterfall but seeing the city. It will be interesting to visit. Puck said as he observed the picture. Unfortunately that place was beyond the reach even for me, the pressure from the water is too much and the mana in there is also small. He lamented while sighing. You will love it there in Puckdano, this place where you can eat as much as you want with a certain amount of money. Puck perked up at that, his ears flopped once. Really? Yup, I know since I've been there too. So I can eat ice cream as much as I want. Is there egg or something else in there? There are many foods that you would love, trust me. Since you're very gluttonous I guess I can trust your judgment if it is about food. Oi, that was harsh, I'm not always a heavy eater like this you know. It was Saber's influence. Albeit I did eat a lot but not as much as now, probably because I'm in a servant-like body so I can eat much more than normal people. Aaron. Yes? I asked as I turned to Emilia, who looked at me with a strange face. What is it, Emmy? Something else you want to ask? She seemed uncomfortable with my question. I briefly glanced at Puck questioningly, but he only gave me a shrug, his blue eyes though also looking at his surrogate daughter in concern. You said you are a descendant of dragon. Right? I do have the blood of a dragon flowing inside me, yes. I see. She still wanted to say something but she held it back, it was as clear as day. I have an idea what she is going to say actually, but why does she look so hesitant? Normally I am going to press her, however I'm sure she has her own reason, and also it was something that only a few know and she never told me, so it would be suspicious if I just said or mentioned it. By the way, I might be busy for the next few days. I said, trying to change the topic. Huh? Emilia blinked. I have things to take care of. As soon as I get back to the manor I will pack and go out for 1 or 2 days. Things? Emilia's face curled into curiosity and concerned expressions. What things? I will admit it was not simple things but one that was quite problematic. Unfortunately, I can't say the details right now, but I promise I will tell you after I return. I can't bluntly say that I am going to search for the witch cult or look for something that might threaten her life. That will do nothing but make her worry and wish to come with me. And I can't have that, not when things are so unsure and unknown. Right now it is better if I just go by myself for my own safety and everyone else's. I can't let the things that happened to Ram in the Woolgarms incident repeat, that was very close after all. Aaron, I don't like this. Emilia said, she now clearly shows concern. Is this connected to what happened yesterday? Emmy, I assure you I'm no longer mad about yesterday. I replied before I frowned. Okay, I admit I'm still upset about what happened yesterday, but my outing has no relation with that, it is entirely a different matter. Here I give a look to Puck, asking for help silently. The Great Spirit stares at me with piercing eyes but only for a moment before he gives me his assistance. Let him go, Lia, we both know just how capable Aaron is. He can handle himself. The cat spirit must be able to sense my seriousness and wariness, I have no intention to hide it. I will do dangerous things, so he can help me to tell Emilia to not follow me. But Emilia glanced at me and to Puck, her face that persistently slowly turned to one of relented. Fine. How long are you going to leave? Like I said, only 1 or 2 days, at max is 5, not longer than that. Betelgeuse and his cultist are already there 2 or 3 days before Hakugiai shows itself mapping the village and our mansion, so it means I have around 2 days so I can go and check on Hakugiai location. Plenty of time in my opinion. It has been a day since then. Right now I am sitting in front of a bonfire, wearing my armor while leaning on the tree, keeping my senses sharp and staying alert with my tent and sleeping bag not far from where I am sitting right now. I can't exactly pinpoint my location. While I do indeed leave some trail and mark that will give me clues to go back, but it doesn't change the fact that I don't know where my position is other than I'm in a forest around Arlem village. I have been patrolling around the area, with my speed I can easily do that only in hours, and I managed to find 2 caves, one that is near me right now and the other located southeast from here. It is quite far and it will take an hour by foot to reach it. Last night. Well, I can say last night was quite a mess, what with Woolgarm still around got attracted and attacked me when I made the witch's stench intensify. And let me tell you, have your heart grasped, literally. Is not a pleasant sensation. When I utter that cursed words, it was like torture. The witch of envy touch is cold, cold like ice. Now imagine them in the shape of a hand, and they also feel like one save for the temperature. The sensation when that hand touches me. It was painful. Your body technically is warm inside, the human's body temperature is 36.5 to 37.5 C, just drop 2 or 3 already enough to make you have to be checked to hospital. Now imagine what if 0 or temperature minus suddenly touches the organ that keeps your body working and alive. Yeah, it is safe to say that just after saying the curse 2 or 3 times I need to warm myself with a blanket and sit in front of the fire. Not to mention the painful sensation I have on my chest, I'm sure if it is not because lesser spirits are healing me right now the skin on my chest will be blue from the cold. Now I know why Subaru almost never kills himself using return by death. Seriously, it was painful and clearly not the best feeling you wish to have if you are about to die. The reason I did that is so the witch stench around me to become more weak. In order to draw Betelgeuse or witch cult to me, I need for them to be able to sense or smell me, just like when they smell Subaru's when he is on his way back to the manor. Thanks to that, I also became a target of the local Woolgarms. I lost count after I killed the 20th beast. Seriously, I never expected the number of those mutts still that much. I mean, I sure as hell already killed more than 100 during the Woolgarm incident, after I blow them all with strike air when they try to swarm me. Luckily for me, there is no demon beast that comes. Well, at least not in the last 6 hours. Usually they pop their head here once per 2, but maybe I managed to reduce their numbers and they know to not mess with me anymore. SSRKK. SSRKK. Oh fuck you, fate. Fuck you to the Yomi, Tartarus, and all hell that each pantheon have. The sound itself is actually barely existent. It was small and can be mistaken as wind simply breezed the bush, but I know wind did not make a sound like that. No, it was something else. I know this because I had spent the day keeping alert, so I did not get ambushed by Woolgarm after all. I waste no time to stand and call Excalibur to my hand, my eyes instantly peering to where the sound comes from, my legs widened in preparation to sprung or to keep my balance if the demon beast comes. The bush split and I was about to jump, but I was forced to stop myself when it revealed something that I never expected. A certain pink-haired Oni. Ram. I said the name with shock and surprise. Eren-sama. Ram gives a nod of courtesy as a greeting, face stoic and emotionless. Are you not taking a bath today? You smell like rotten meat. I may not clean myself to the fullest, but I did wash myself. I replied with a twitchy eye. There is a lake near here after all. Wait. That was not the problem. What are you doing here? I hissed as I dismissed Excalibur and approached her. You shouldn't be in here. It is dangerous. Ram checking around the area since Ram feels something foul in the wind, never expect it to be Eren-sama. Ram said in monotone. You sense something in. Of course. I end my sentence with a murmur. She specializes in wind magic. Even if she doesn't have mana, it doesn't change the fact she is powerful. She only lacks the energy to use her power. She still can sense if something is wrong, and with her clairvoyance ability, she won't have a hard time tracking me. Does Eren-sama know just how much the smell of the witch's stench around Eren-sama? It's so bad to the point it makes animals walk away from you. That is my purpose. I groaned as I slapped my forehead. Wait, she can smell it too. As far I know, only Rem could. Never mind that. I need to smell like a witch. You shouldn't be here in the first place. Thanks to Eren-sama for that. She deadpanned. Eren-sama's witch stench attracts all demon beasts to you. Seriously, it is bad enough that Eren-sama already smells strange, now Eren-sama added with the witch stench. Under normal circumstances, I am going to retort that insult, but I know that now is not the right time. Listen. I grabbed her shoulder and I noticed her body stiffened when I did that, something that was strange, but I chose to ignore it for now. I'm serious, Ram, I'm waiting for dangerous people. You cannot be here. I can't protect you while dealing with them. I won't have what happened in Arc 2 repeated here. Unlike Woolgarm, this one is far more dangerous. The risk is far more big. It was pure luck that I managed to get to her just in time. There is no way I can make the same thing happen twice. Please remove your hand from Ram, Eren-sama. Ram said as she pulled and released herself from my grip, her pink eyes gazing at me in an analytical and cold manner. Dangerous people. What kind of people did Eren-sama wish to meet in the first place? What kind of people do I want to meet by making myself reek like a witch? I asked back in a sarcastic voice. And since Ram is obviously smart and sharp, it did not take long for her to know what kind of people I want to meet. Why does Eren-sama want to meet with Cult of the Witch? She demanded, her eyes wide and her whole body tensed. I could sense the mana around her shifting and ready to be used. Wait, I can sense mana. That. I will save that for later. Because they will come and try to kill Emmy. I answered grimly. Think about it, the Witch of Envy is half-elf and has silver hair. All in all, Emmy's appearance matches her. What do you think if some crazy cultist finds there is someone out there that looks like a person who they thought of as their goddess? Do you think they will let such things slide just like that? Ram's eyes narrowed further, her face confronted with a mixture of concentration and trouble. It only takes a few seconds for her to get what I mean. Ram can see Eren-sama point. She said in a reluctant voice. Then, we should inform everyone in manor about this, fortify the mansion and dash. That will be too complicated. I shake my head in disagreement. We can't just wait for them when we know they will come. No, we are going to strike when they are not ready. By yourself like this? Ram gave me a skeptical look. Eren-sama, while Ram knows that Eren-sama can handle himself, but there is a possibility the cultist number is around 100. And 100 people is different from 100 Wulgarn. Not to mention there is a chance they will bring the Archbishop with them. I am sure as hell they will bring one with them. I grumbled. Of course no, I don't intend to tackle them all alone, I'm not that suicidal. I said with a small sigh and pinched the bridge of my nose. I intend to trick them. Why do you think I make myself smell like a witch? Because Eren-sama's stench is more reek than the witch's. I give her glare, one that says, right now is not time you pinky, but she only stares at me with a nonchalant face. Because I want to trick them. If they sense that I have an aura like one of them and also sense my strength, then they will think of me as someone who is in a higher position, and after that I can make them cooperate, then make us able to ambush them perfectly. Ram doubts that going to work. She said. While that could work, Ram doubts the cult of witch will allow Eren-sama slip that easily, especially if they have an archbishop with them. They probably know and are close to each other, so Eren-sama's plan has a very high chance of failing. If you consider witch cult as an organized group, then yes, my plan is doomed to fail, but fortunately they are not. And every archbishop also screwed up in head, they practically hate and barely tolerate each other's presence. Save for Sirius, who is in one-sided love with Betelgeuse. They also do not work to resurrect Satella, no, they use the gospel for their own gain, not to mention there is a archbishop pride position that remains vacant until now. They are in literal sense, a crazy cult that doesn't have any clear purpose and their system literally fucked up. The only people who can make very good plans and have screws still attached to their heads are probably only Capella Emerata Lugnica, the Archbishop of Lust, Regulus Corneas, the Archbishop of Greed, and Pandora, the Witch of Vainglory. Oh, they will be alright, I have my way. I said mysteriously. Look, it doesn't matter. You can report this to the people in Manor if you wish, but do not make a move until I come back. Because if you did, then there is a chance they might panic and assault the village fully. Then I grimaced. Imagine that happened, it won't be pretty for Emmy. And Roswell, but I left that unsaid. Until Eren-sama comes back. If I do not come back in the next 2 or 3 days, then go barricade the village and mansion. Ask villagers to evacuate from the village quietly, and defend yourself. Hunt them down by asking help from Puckdano. I said gravely. Do not engage them without him, only Puckdano strong enough to protect and attack them at same time. There is Roswell as well, but fuck that clown, I sure as hell he won't do anything to help us. I won't be surprised if he go out for another business when I come back and report this to everyone. And Eren-sama sure he can handle it. Based on what? Let it be say that I'm not stupid, my grade practically opposed the word of stupid. I'm not the sharpest person and I have my flaws, many perhaps. But I'm not dull enough to not notice that from the beginning until now Ram has been nothing but hostile and distrusting to me. From her body posture to the mana that right now keeps shifting and ready to be used anytime. If Eren-sama is done leering over Ram, can Eren-sama answer Ram's question? I ignore her insult, this is not the time. She clearly also notices that I am aware of something wrong with her and she tries to hide it. Well, too bad that won't work. What with her behavior? Why does she seem so distrusting and angry? Ram. She is not. Oh. Is it Ram or that man? I asked. I practically can feel how I spat the word when I spoke about him, though I tried to tune it down. Judging by how her face turned into a rage, it clearly did not work. Don't speak about Roswell-sama using that tone. She replied heatedly. It is Rem, isn't it? Of course it is her. Knowing Roswell, there is no way he is going to tell Ram. He is that kind of person after all. And I nearly groaned as I came to that conclusion. Rem, it wouldn't be a bad idea if you told her that I am about to kill Roswell after I finish with Betelgeuse. Not now. I don't need this kind of bullshit right now. It doesn't matter if it is Rem or Roswell-sama. What matters is that there is a witch cult out there that is ready to strike us any moment. Eren-sama avoiding Ram's question. How can Eren-sama be sure that his plan will succeed? I don't, but let's just say my plan has a chance. I answered honestly. And how? Let's just say I have my way. That is the only thing I can say. I can say it is my special ability as the person who shares the same blood with the great dragon, but I am worried if I say that it will come to bite me back in the ass in future. In the future, I will learn that I should have just done that since the fucking beginning. Unfortunately, that seems the wrong thing to say judging by how Ram intake of breath becomes sharp to the point I can hear it, thanks to servants' hearing sense for that. Which Eren-sama is working for? Wait, what? Excuse me? Of all things she was going to ask, that was not what I expected. The book Eren-sama has. Ram can't read it, Rem can't read it, even Roswell-sama can't. That was gospel. Ram glared at me. If she looked before the cold, now it became downright Antarctic. Gospel book. How is that even? I would laugh if this situation was not so serious. Seriously, me? Working under a witch? The only witch that kind and I want to work under is Minerva or Sekhmet if she is still alive, but even so I am still going to reconsider it a dozen times before making my decision. Not to mention I sure as hell Witch of Envy won't like it if I work under other witches. She is pretty much angry when Echidna confronts Subaru after all and does not even hesitate to attack her. While indeed it made sense for you coming to that conclusion, but I assure you I'm not working under any witches. Though there is no solid proof other than my words. Then she snorted in a very unlady manner. That's Eren-sama's answer. Best defense? Ram expects better from someone at your caliber. Maybe Ram overestimated Eren-sama intelligence until now. Unlike her usual mocking words, this time there is real heat and insult in there, and I clench my jaw. I don't want to hear that from some girl that was leashed by a monster. Ram glared at me the moment I said that, her nostril flared once. Don't you dash. What? Admit it, that man is as monster as the witch. I sneered, not even holding back my contempt. He is a pretty good actor, a very good puppeteer, but I know what I saw the moment I meet him. I said coldly, and if it is not because of you as a pillar for Rem, I won't hesitate to cut you as a lost person. And I was being honest. After Rem got her existence erased by the Archbishop of Gluttony, I became utterly disgusted and found Ram character to be very less charming. Her infatuation on Roswell rises to a level that can be said insane, maybe not the level of that clown's insanity, but it is still comparable. She was strong, even if she was incapable of fighting like Rem, but her character is strong. She is a pillar for her sister, and she knows how to shoulder a burden, not just her own but Rem's as well. But after Gluttony removes Rem's existence, she became nothing but a weak girl that leaned completely on Roswell, like an obsessed fangirl. When she declared her love to him, I felt nothing but contempt. It wasn't love, it wasn't romance, it was a mad obsession. And I was fine with it, it was a fictional work after all, even if I didn't support it, but I didn't care much. But now, to see a woman like her, someone like her that now I know personally turned out to be like that. It is disgusting. I saw her flinch visibly at my words and glare, and seeing her reaction I felt guilt gnawing in my stomach. Clearly I have gone too far and I should phrase my words better. I was about to apologize and rephrase what I just said, but she cut it with another look. It is not an angry glare, but it gazes of distrust. And expectant. So this is Eren-sama's true nature. The real face of your dark side. She commented darkly. Ram expects no less from you. The way she spoke. The way she utters those words. So you never trusted me in the first place, even until now. Never. The answer that comes from her is, as expected, swift and straight. And I'm not surprised. I really don't. Unlike Rem and Emilia, Ram is a different woman. She is not gullible or naive, she is someone who shoulders, someone who endure. So despite her world and vision narrow like Rem, but her mind clearly far more sharp and dark, more cynical, more suspicious, because that was what kind of person she is, someone who endure, and those who endure always being careful. But to hear she distrusts me even until now. It hurt more than any guilt I ever felt. I apologize for using such harsh words, that clearly can be easily misinterpreted, but I'm sure you won't believe me. I spoke, voice dull and flat. And I don't care whatever you said or you're feeling, not from someone who leashed herself to slave of witch. I saw her stiffened, eyes wide and jaw clenched, but I ignored it as I closed my eyes. Do what you wish, go back to the manor, inform everyone that the witch cult is coming if you want, but under any circumstance do not make any move. Like I said, wait for me or wait for at least 3 days from now on. I turned from her, not wishing to look at her anymore, and I walked back toward my camp. Very well, good night Eren-sama. Her voice is cold, uncaring, and hollow. The voice that is always filled with heat, sarcasm, smugness, arrogance, pride and friendly. Gone as if they were never there. I did nothing but stand and stare at the bonfire that crackled and illuminated the darkness around me. Even when she had already left for more than minutes, I don't know the exact time since I'm too lost in my mind, but I still did nothing other than staring at the orange flame beneath me. Why? Why Ram? There are a dozen questions crossed in my mind, and a dozen things I want to say. That conversation was illogical, doesn't make any sense, and it was wrong, very wrong. We were not supposed to talk like that, we are better than that, we are above that, that was our emotions blinding our minds, such conversation should never happen in the first place. But they did happen. I only can let out a dry and bitter laugh as I slumped to the ground like a puppet without strings. Fuck. It was the sound of birds chirping followed by their loud flap of wings that alerted him. He don't know when and how long he fell asleep, perhaps only not long after Ram leaving, but the sounds that those birds made enough to wake him up. He groaned and fought against the ache that invading his head, his eyes slowly open and he rose from the ground, feeling his back also aching just like his head. Sleep in the wrong place and position obviously. He thought as he recognized the symptom. His eyes that still dazed briefly noted that he did not sleep in a tent but outside, no wonder he felt his body sore. Something is coming. He felt his whole body tensed in an instant and less than a second he was already on his feet without him being aware. Something is coming. His eyes focused on where his instinct scream at him. His fingers clench and unclench themselves in preparation, without doubt Excalibur will come and ready for action the moment he moves his hand. Wulgar more. He did not need to continue his thought as the something came out from the bush and it was not Wulgarm. It was someone who he had been waiting for. They all come one by one, at first only 5, then it increases to 10, to 20, and they still keep coming and he lost count after 30. They all just like how the anime and manga depict when he read/watched them. Clad in purple outfits that cover their whole body, pointy hat, mask, hood. That blocking their faces from the world save for a pair of red eyes that glowing in a menacing manner. And he can't sense anything from them. No, not their presence but their existence. It's almost like they are not human, they are not living beings. They are almost like a puppet, like someone who is not alive. They all look artificial. Like a homunculus. He had read about it, about the discussion from the fan page and from a little fanfiction. Those who touch the root or at least reach it cease to exist on the spot as their souls are either going back to where they came from, becoming absorbed into the root, or something similar. These people. These cultists. They all recruited by having a gospel book given to them, making them touch it, and then they all recruited. And seeing the gospel book is a book that can predict the future of the holder. It was without doubt that the book clearly connected to something like Root or Akasha, and the moment they touched them. Eren does not need to finish his thought as he has a big guess what will happen to these people. They all lose their mind and become devoted because part of their souls are gone. He watched as they all began to surround him, taking circle position slowly. He did not show any panic or emotion as he stared at them all, he kept his face calm and stoic. Then they all bowed to him, dropping to the ground, kneeling with one hand crossed over their chest as if they were knight before king. My, this is certainly interesting. A voice comes from the same direction where the cultist appears and Eren shifts his gaze to him. Pale. Inhumanely pale with a shade of green. Unlike Tyr who is pale like a sick person or Emilia that has a healthy shade of whiteness, this man's paleness is almost like paint. His face was marred by a grin so wide that like the grin of a deranged person, his green hair styled into a strange cut. There is no mistake. He was just like what he expected, this man. You're very slothful. You should arrive sooner to make the best preparation, sloth. He called, cutting the man before he could talk. Betelgeuse blinked once, then he tilted his head almost to 90 degrees to the point Eren was wondering how the hell his neck was not broken. This strong smell of love, and the power that comes with it. His mouth curled to a big grin. You are Pride, right? In response Eren merely pulled out his magical book, one that stuffed into his coat pocket, his lips curled to an arrogant and prideful smirk as he showed it to the man, Archbishop of Pride, Eren Pendragon. Ugh. Betelgeuse makes a voice of interest. Pride. 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 He uttered the word as if it was sacred and holy. To think I will meet Pride before the day of the ordeal. And he also has love. Ugh. He cocked back his head while holding out while shuddering. My brain tremble. Eren, while uncomfortable with the way the insane man behaves, still can't help but feel there should be sweat dropped in the back of his head if he is in anime. Holy shit, he really said that aloud. He thought. Still. He can't help but feel this has clearly gone better than he expected. To think Betelgeuse bought his lie and act like this. Well, he is a better liar and actor than Subaru's, and the man's mind condition is also questionable and unstable, so it clearly won't be hard to lie to him. As long he has. What is surprising though is the book. He didn't think Betelgeuse was going to accept it as a gospel book so easily. He already prepared some excuse and lie that can be used if the man thought there was something strange with his gospel book, but now is not the time to think about such a thing. He thought as he brushed away that for later. The day of ordeal will come soon. How many men do you bring with you? Ah. How many? Betelgeuse asked back with a wide grin. So many. All of them. All of them come to celebrate the rays of our beloved goddess. He declared while spreading his arm in a gesturing manner to his surroundings. Damn, that was certainly not helping. He thought with annoyance. I see, then what about the other? You bring others with you? He asked, then he put on his best sneering face. You do not bring greed with you, right? At the mention of greed, Aaron watched as Betelgeuse's grin was gone, his lips slowly curled to poker expression before turning to snarl. Do not mention that name. He spat with rage, so much anger to the point there froth in his mouth, that disgusting and vile man. He threw his head back and let out a small roar. Disgusting. 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 Just remembering him make me want to rip out his heart. Aaron blinked. He did expect that Betelgeuse would not like Regulus since they have history and the hatred probably still there, but he never thought it would be to this extent. Well, more advantage for him. Agree. He said with a spat. To think he dares to be disloyal and favoring other women than our goddess. Was that pretty good? It must be judging by how Betelgeuse looked at him as if he just spoke holy words. My brother. You understand. He exclaimed before he took steps forward and embraced him in a hug, and it took everything Aaron had to not strike him down when the Archbishop did this. You understand. Understand the way of love. Ah. As I expected. You truly are wondrous. Wondrous. As expected from my brother. Ha. My brain tremble. Humph, our goddess deserves no less. Aaron replied blankly as he pushed the man away. He is really going to need to wash himself in hot water when he is done with this. If it is not greed, then who comes with you? My gospel mentions you bring something else. This is actually a lie that is risky. If Betelgeuse did not bring anything, then it will make him suspicious, but Aaron can claim that the gospel means for him. However, if he did have something, then Aaron can make better preparation. Betelgeuse glanced at him with his usual toothy and big grin. Yes. 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 I got what you mean. I had been blessed and gifted with certain things. Very, very, very useful and lovely things. He then turned to one of the cultists. Bring them here. The mentioned cult member nodded with bow before he or she retreated back to the forest. It wasn't long before they returned and Aaron watched them drag 6 unconscious children. He feels slight dread at the sight of innocents caught by these people in an instant, but he can't help but feel a bit relieved when he notices that he did not recognize their faces, which means they are not children from the village. Children? He said, and he can't help but put a disbelief tone in his voice. Not just any children. Betelgeuse exclaimed as he approached the children and caressed one of their cheeks in a loving manner. They are children that are blessed by love. 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 Ha. He let out a sigh that was filled with pleasure. Children who are blessed by love. Aaron instantly concludes that these children will be used as a sacrifice. Worse, right now they possibly already no longer themselves and only something that needs a snap of fingers to be activated. They will be the one that tests the half-demon I take. He asked. Yes, brother. Yes. They will. Betelgeuse cackled. The day of ordeal soon will come. Only in the next 3 days. We shall have that half-devil to judge if she is worthy for our goddess or not. Ah. My brain trembles just imagining it. He exclaimed while holding his head and shivering in pleasure. 3 days, huh? Well, I got the date I wished for, and... Should I ask what these children are capable of? No, that would be too suspicious. Betelgeuse insane and gullible due to his mental state, but I doubt he is stupid if I keep pushing. Aaron glanced at the children stoically, but inside he can't help but feel like iron just dropped to his stomach. There is a big chance that he is going to fight against them. Or whatever they would become tomorrow, and if that happens then it is highly possible he would be forced to kill them. He can't stay here any longer. He can't maintain his facade any further, not with such weight in his mind. There is the matter of Ram as well that still bothers him. He already gets what he wants, so he should leave before things become worse. Then I leave the rest to you. I have my own preparation and I will share it with you tomorrow, he said. Then he gave the man a smirk. A big preparation for our goddess. Oh. Yes. Yes. Such diligence. Ah. The Archbishop of Sloth seems deeply moved by the man's words. Then no need to waste time here. Go. Go and prepare the best for our goddess. Everything for her, he said in a sweet voice. By the way, do you happen to have a conversing mirror that is connected to your link? It will be easier to contact you if I need to tell you something else. Of course. Of course. I have. Betelgeuse nodded and turned to one of the cult members that stepped forward and gave him the mirror. Here. Here. Take this. Eren took it graciously and nodded. Then, I will take my leave now. See you soon then, Betelgeuse. See you soon, brother. Ha 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 ha. The cult members split and parted away, giving him space as he walked. Eren kept walking. Even when he was already out of their sight, he kept walking for 10 minutes, and after that he bolted away, running as fast as he could. Until he is sure he at least already 1 kilometer away from them, he stopped and began to breathe heavier than normal. It's not like he was tired, no, very far from it, but he is mentally exhausted. It takes everything he has to keep his facade and lie. The mention of Ram still hurting him. He won't admit it aloud, but he really feels like an ass for saying the truth in such a way. He really went overboard to her. He should phrase it better, but... And then there are these children's matters. Great Akasha, things really went hill for him, didn't they? While it seems to go smoothly, the mental burden that was given to him is very heavy. He shook his head before slowly lifting his eyes to above, to the sky that clear, blue, and filled with countless clouds with numerous shapes. Tomorrow. Gods, hopefully everything will go according to the plan. He prays to any deities out there that it will. Even if everything went right now without any mistakes, tomorrow is the climax, and if something goes wrong then the result will be very bad. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.